Alright, Dwayne here, PhoenixTypewriter.com. We're going to look at a particular problem that Smith Corona typewriter is having, and we're going to reproduce it here. And the problem is in the shift. The shift is up and down, but the machine that we're going to duplicate is, when it goes down, it doesn't come up all the way. It comes up about there. And then it's a little mushy. Then all of a sudden it will come back up all the way. Okay, so we'll show you what's happening there. Under here we've got some parts, including the escapement and the backspace assembly. Let me get a light to prop in here. We're going to need some more light. Okay. Okay, what's going on here is, let me find a little poker tool. Should have been ready for this, but okay. The problem with this shift is, okay, so we got the shift going up and down right here. Right about where the screw is, and this is the line lock right here. So when you move this to the end, that piece moves. That piece moves. That keeps this piece right here from moving. That's the escapement for the type bars. See that move when you hit the type bars? Then that piece will come in and lock so it doesn't type. That's the line lock. This whole piece here is connected to the shift, so it moves up and down. So this whole piece is a piece of metal the whole way here, just like that. Well, what's happening with your machine is the backspace is this piece right here, right there, and that does backspaces. Move this carriage over. So that paw does the backspace right here, this black paw, and this connector goes down over to here, and then it takes a link and it goes up to the backspace button. So that's a backspace, back to normal, backspace, back to normal, backspace, back to normal. Well, what's happening? This piece, the backspace, is too far this way. So I'm going to reproduce it by forcing this. See this black, and there's the backspace. And this paw can only be right about this motion right here. It's got to be within those tolerances. If you go too far this way, it binds up the escapement. You see, it interferes with that, so it's got to be in this area right there. What's wrong with yours is it's too far. See, I'm forcing it that way, so I'm going to force it that way. And what it is, it gets underneath the shift, underneath that screw right there, and it catches right there. See it catch that? It's moving the black piece. So it's under there right now. I'm going to let it go. So right now the shift is hung up under that black piece. And when you hit the backspace or the shift, it jumps out of place here. So that's where it's catching. What needs to be done is, this is a tricky part, is this needs to be adjusted. This needs to not go as far that way. It needs to be stopped. And one thing, well, there's two things that I'm I can't even make this machine do it, but I think I bent this whole arm right here. I bent it that way. If you get in here real aggressively, you can actually bend this. See that move? And it can go a little bit without changing anything. See, it's that way a little bit. You can bend it that way a little bit. Just got to be careful and don't bend it too far, or it throws things out of whack. Or you need to follow this linkage all the way to its pivots, and then up following this up to where the backspace stops, right up in here. Really tough to see. It's really dark in there. It bottoms out right here. There's the backspace lever. I'm pushing it with my fingers, moving. And there's a piece of cork right up there. See that cork? That's on the light right there. That's the rest. That's where it stops right there. So, if you were to hold this right like that, right there, not there, but right there, that moves that piece out of the way a little bit. So that's what has to happen. Something happened in that one motion. And there's the backspace button, and it comes up and it bottoms out here. So it's bottoming out right there. Can't go any higher. You, in essence, has to make it, you have to make it stay right about there. If you were to hold your backspace button down just that much right there, I think the shift would work. And when you let up, it's going to bind. So this needs to be somehow adjusted. I almost think what might have happened is that piece of cork up here that stops at this little pad, that cork piece, it's right on the edge. See that movement? It's right on the edge of that cork piece. That cork piece probably chipped off, and that's going up too high, which forces that little arm to go over too far. So, this is where it gets tricky. You have to figure out how to make this piece not go over all the way. And there's a couple ways to adjust that. One of them is this link. It's bendable, it looks like. You could take up some slack there. This piece right here could be bent, causing a change in the position. And the best one would probably be somehow to make this backspace button up here not, kind of replace the pad up here. Put a piece up there so it doesn't go up, but that's very hard to get to, it looks like. So that's where you're going to have to improvise and figure out which way to adjust that. And maybe a little bit of everything, like I mentioned. You can force this whole piece over a little bit, make it clear a little more. But that's the culprit right there. That piece is going too far that way. Just like that. It's binding on it right there. That's exactly what's happening. Alright. I know that's what's happening. I'm not exactly sure how you're going to fix that. I'm not exactly sure how I fixed the one that the ones, I've done this a few times, I think it's this pad up here chips off and that throws it all out of whack. I think you can maybe even get in here and rig something up here, like on this plate right here, and put something so it stops. So it stops right there. Alright, good luck, Phoenix Typewriter. We're out here.